Hello, this is Sibbles and Bits, and we're back here with InB4Blood, a series dedicated to discovery and discussion of Back for Blood in a post-beta pre-launch state. And today we're here on FortHope.gg talking about Mom. FortHope.gg is a community-made site that enables you to fiddle around with the deck mechanics of the game, sort of get an idea of what exactly is in there, what you can do. However, it is important to state that it is using alpha statistics. In the beta, these cards changed, and in the base game, this is probably going to change even more. Regardless, we should still be able to use this to talk about Mom. Now, second thing I want to point out is just because you're a specific character doesn't mean that that character's stats define you. You get 15 of these cards, and they're where all the power in this game comes from. So we're going to talk about Mom here. Her talent is that she can instantly revive a incapacitated teammate once per level. She gets +1 support inventory, can carry more heals basically, and her team effect is she gives +1 extra life. And I want to just take some time and talk about extra life here. You only have 1 life in Back for Blood, an extra life technically. Anytime that your health is reduced to 0, you're downed, you get revived, and now you have no extra lives, you get reduced down to 0 again, you die. You can be rescued later, but you are out of the game for that moment and your team is at a disadvantage. Even further, on Nightmare difficulty, you get -1 extra life, which actually means you have 0 lives. The second your HP gets reduced to 0, you die. So simply having Mom on the team gives everybody 1 instance of an extra life, and you can utilize that in a way by spreading damage. If your front line goes down, you can send somebody else up to take some damage, and that might get you through the round. Whereas if your front line goes down normally, now you got to deal with that for about a tenth of the stage, and that could actually mean that you lose. Also important to note that the instant revival is pretty good as well. It's basically a better defibrillator in this game, and there's multiple scenarios where you have a horde event that forces you to go into an area as enemies are constantly spawning and you need to stop it. If somebody goes down because they get hit by a stray enemy, you now have to stop running in to pick them up or leave them. So you're either sacrificing your forward momentum and you're going to be in this event longer, or you're going to sacrifice your teammate and you lose, well, your teammate. That's a gun. So the ability to instantly revive an incapacitated teammate doesn't happen often that it's that important, but when it does, you're going to be glad that you have it. It's also important to note, I don't talk about the competitive mode Swarm a lot here, but in that competitive mode, it's basically an unlimited horde mode as well, so it's very, very good in that mode as well. Another thing to note about Mom is that she can't really utilize any of her stats to gain other benefits. She's actually less flexible than Evangelo. You can't get rid of a support inventory. There are cards that make it so that you don't have a support inventory slot at all, but anybody can grab those, and you're getting rid of 2 support inventories when you do it, so it's honestly more wasteful. You also can't get rid of an extra life. So does this mean that Mom's weaker than all the other characters? Not necessarily, because in order to replace Mom, everybody on your team is going to have to grab second chance for that extra life. Someone's going to have to pick up the support inventory, so that's 5 cards to replace what Mom does, and you don't even get the instant revive. You can make that 2 cards by grabbing Needs of Many. Someone's going to sacrifice 20% of their life in order to give everybody 1 extra life. That's a bit scuffed in my opinion, but you might be able to work it out with your team. If you get rid of 20 life, the chances that you're going to need that extra life are much higher. But you might be in a situation where you're in the back and everybody else is supposed to tank for you. Another thing that I would be a bit remiss if I didn't mention is Mom's secondary weapon. I also don't really mention secondary weapons when I talk about characters in these videos because it's a non-issue. As soon as you get a better weapon, you're gonna replace it, especially if you don't like the weapon. Eventually, gun rarity is gonna go up. Green weapons are gonna spawn on the map. They do significantly more damage. You're gonna get rid of your secondary weapon. However, Mom starts with the Belgian, and that is a huge benefit. The Belgian is a double-barreled shotgun that enables you to do disgusting damage. It uses 2 shells. It's still not as good as the TAC-14 shotgun, but it's still comparable to a Barrett 50 cal of the same tier, theoretically. No other character is spawning on stage 1 with a gun that does this much damage. You play on Nightmare, you spawn with Mom, you open that safe room door, the game decides to spawn a bruiser right in front of you, you now actually have damage to take care of that problem. It gets even more disgusting. Because of the fact that the Belgian is a double-barreled shotgun, fires both of its shells at once, you actually get to utilize reload speed better than any other gun in the game. Every other gun in the game has to empty its magazine, then it gets reload speed. It's not using it all the time. With the Belgian, you're immediately going down to 0 and reloading. You're turning this into fire rate, basically. The only other weapon that basically scales this hard off of cards is melee. You can take cards to get 10% melee speed, 10% melee speed, 30% with a deficit, another deficit for 40, 20% melee speed. The Belgian, look at that, 40% reload speed with shotguns, no deficit. That's 40% fire rate. Eventually, if you just keep stacking reload speed, the Belgian becomes an AA-12 that actually does damage. Fires at about half the rate, but unfortunately also uses 2 shells per shot, so you're going to have to solve for ammo. That's about all I have to say about Mom. However, you might have more to say about Mom, maybe even some clever your mom jokes. You can go ahead and put those down in the comments too. Otherwise, if you feel like I missed something, you want to clarify something, you've got some comments, maybe some crazy builds, you can talk about those in the comments as well. Until then, I'll catch you next time.